Well, I spent the summer with my family in Nashville, Tennessee. I worked at a whiskey bar called Poorhouse, P-O-U-R, and it was like Poorhouse Bourbon, Burgers, and Brews, and I was a hostess, and it was really, really cool because it's such a good community. Every year my family goes to Florida for just like a week at the beach, and this is the first year we've gone without my grandparents, so I just got to know my brother and sister for the first time since I left home at 14 for boarding school, so it was just like a culture shock and really good. This year we stayed in like a gated beach community, but the walk to the beach was like 30 seconds, so it was cool. And when we got back to Nashville, I would just like ride around with my friends around the city, and we'd hang out in parks and drink tea. Spent a lot of time with my grandmother watching Ellen DeGeneres. She's my favorite. My grandmother's always like, "Isn't she neat?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, Grandma, she's fantastic." I was a counselor. I've known everybody there since I was like a 7th grader. And it's like ELCA, and it's in my synod, Southeastern Synod represent. It was fun, but I think I scared my kids because I fell asleep right in the middle of a Bible lesson. And they were throwing candy at me, and I sprained my ankle. So, and I spent the night before the campers got there in the hospital. I sprained it during staff training. I was playing kickball, and my friend Jared just ran me over. I was really happy coming back from the summer knowing that I was going to be in B&B again.
I spent most of it in a room with no windows in the basement of the engineering center. I was in Starkey's lab, and he has his own lab in the basement of the aerospace wing. I just get this little counter space that's about 5 by 3. He's like super into propulsion. Like, I knew I wanted to work for him since last summer because the professor I was working for last summer, Dr. Hussein, got me in contact with him because I told Dr. Hussein that I wanted to do stuff with propulsion. I just bothered him like 15, 16 times, and he finally put me on the project, and here I am. We're testing our pump in microgravity to see if we can start it up in microgravity successfully. When I got there, they had the box with the pump, and then they had the electronics separate, and then they had the code separate. My job is to integrate everything, get it all boxed up in a new box that I have proven is structurally sound enough to survive launch, re-entry, zero-G, all of that. I have to set up a camera system, lighting system, integrate all the wires and hardware, and just make sure that it's flight ready to fly on Virgin Galactic's Bishop 2. I spent about 20 hours a week on it. Basically, I would get there, decide what I was going to do for the day. Like, say I wanted to do electronics, I would grab the board and go down the hallway to Bobby's lab, and Bobby is one of the lab coordinators for aerospace. They are like super good at electronics and stuff, so I sit in their labs and I tested every single circuit, making sure that every single chip was good. I solder things on as I needed to, figure out wiring situations. With hardware, it was mostly just making sure that everything was connected, that everything would flow right, checking out the vacuum pump, making sure that it's not damaged at all. And then software, I would just sit on my computer staring at it. And then for my other jobs, I worked here as the groundskeeper, and I just watered, basically picked up trash. And then for my third job, I actually got a promotion over the summer. I'm now officially a fitness instructor. Looks good with the ladies, you know? I teach 3 to 5-year-olds, and my job is basically just to get them interested in climbing. Like, I teach some very, very basic things. It's mostly just to get their confidence up and make their parents happy. So it's basically just getting the parents prepared for their kids doing dangerous things and getting the kids prepared to do dangerous things.
There's 16 of us that are selected from the ELCA 2 years ago now to travel to Israel, Palestine, and Jordan. We trained as trip leaders. So we could go back, lead young adults to Palestine and Israel to learn about peace and justice and what it looks like in that place, and also visit and accompany some of our Lutheran partners in the area. So I had the chance this May, after like tons and tons and hundreds of hours of really hard work, to lead that trip and like plan it all, lead it with 2 other awesome co-leaders, and take a group there. Then I came home for 2 weeks and went to Eastern Europe for 2 months, and that was just like the coolest. So I started in the Czech Republic. I had my like map in front of me. So Czech Republic, Poland. Then we did Hungary, Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Montenegro, and Serbia. That was too far over Serbia. Serbia's not that. And I came home, and spent 4 days rafting down the Colorado River. So we rafted just outside of Grand Junction to Westwater, Utah. It's only like a 25-mile trip, so you can do it in a day, and we just stretched it out over 4 days so we could camp 3 nights. So the question is, what should college students do with their summer? I think that it's really important, especially when you have 4 years where you have a summer where you're like, as long as you're not taking summer classes, you have it off, to do something meaningful, whether it's like, and I want to say meaningful in the context of something that is meaningful for you and is challenging or life-giving or something along those lines, whether it's traveling, whether it's working, whether it's going backpacking for 3 months and not seeing another human for that amount of time, like whatever it is, using that time to explore and be creative